This just in, .NET MAUI Preview 4, which is supposed to be the public preview and is ready for you to try out and start converting your app. So let's go see what that's all about. Before we go look at the actual demo project, the Weather 2021, let's first make sure that our MAUI environment is entirely up to date. For that, we have the MAUI check tool. I have another video about that. It should pop up on your screen, or you can find it down in the video description below. But if you have that installed and updated, you can just say MAUI check, and it will start running all kinds of checks and see if you need to install some prerequisites or that other stuff is going on. Here you can see it's checking that I need the OpenJDK. Should I attempt to fix that? Yes, please. So now it's going to do that automatically. It will download that, install that onto my machine, and you should be able to install all the prerequisites for .NET MAUI on your machine like this. Now, also announced at build is the new Visual Studio Preview 16.11 Pre-1, I think, and that will give you also the MAUI templates built in. So whenever we go here now to Visual Studio and we say create new project, we can search here for templates, and whenever we search for MAUI, then now a new MAUI cross-platform should pop up here. And here we go. So we got the .NET MAUI app right here, and whenever we then click next, we can just say, well, you can see I already created one secretly, don't tell anyone. So we get MAUI app 2, and we can just click create, and it will generate all the things for us. Well, all the things, I'm saying all the things, but what's really cool is that it's now the single project also. So before, whenever you would do a new Xamarin.Forms project, you would get the shared project, you would get the iOS project, the Android one, the UWP if you were running on Windows, and now you can still see the WinUI 3 and the WinUI 3 package one. Those still have to be added to our single project solution. But all the rest, the iOS and the Android, the Mac Catalyst, they're all here in this one project. How cool is that? So here it wants to pair to my Mac. Let's not do that right now. So here you can see still some specific folders. Of course, there's still some platform specific stuff going on. Like for Android, you still have the resources and the main activity, main application. I think this will change in the future, how this looks, how this works. But for now, you still have all the platform specific stuff right here in your one shared project. But what is really, really cool is that there is some new stuff in here. So if we go to the resources, this is already shared. So they've already wired this up. These resources, they map automatically to where it needs to be in Android, iOS, Mac Catalyst, and all the projects that the platforms that will be supported in the future. So all these fonts can just be used in all of these platforms without doing platform-specific stuff. The images, same thing. And what's really cool, you can use SVGs now out of the box. And we also have some new build actions. So if we do a right click and go to the properties, actually it's not this one, then maybe it's this one. We can do the properties, also not here. Okay, well, let me just open the CSproj and show it to you there. So here you can see this item group, and we have now the MAUI image, which is a thing. And in the background, it uses the Resizetizer by Red. That's a plugin that is already available for Xamarin.Forms, but this is integrated into .NET MAUI right now, which enables to resize all the things. You can say is app icon, so it will also be used as the app icon for your app. But this is the thing that I was actually want to show you, is the MAUI splash screen. So now there is a built-in way for you to just spawn a splash screen. You can just say, hey, use this image. It can be an SVG, it can be other images. It will be centered, because on iOS, that's always hard to do, right? To center that image. And you can say, hey, I want to have this color, which will be the background. So, and then you will have a beautiful splash screen, basically. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. Then you have the other MAUI images, and what really stands out here is this cool thing, is that you can say resources.images, not dot, resources/images/star, and it will include all these images right here. Well, It's just one for now, but if you have multiple images in here, you don't have to specify them one by one. You can just say /star and they will all be included. We'll see that in a little bit of a more bigger demo project that I'm going to show you. Also Maui fonts, same thing. It knows how to do all these things, and you can just say /fonts /star and it will include all the files that are under that folder. So that is really cool. Now, other than that, I've already went over some of this. So we have a startup class now, which is, might make you think about the ASP.NET Core way of doing things. We have the app host builder, which uses the forms compatibility, use Maui app. So this is our app class. And here we have to wire up the fonts as well, so that it gets registered in our application. Then if we look at that Maui app, so that's just our app XAML, app XAML CS, here we go. And we now have the concept of window, so we can do multi-window things as well for, the platforms that support it. You can see all the red squigglies here. That's just because I didn't build the application or it couldn't restore the dependencies. We'll fix that in a little bit for the other demo project. And here you can see the forms compatibility. So there's a forms compatibility layer. Also more on that in a minute. And you can set still the platform specific stuff. So this is basically your on platform specific things. I think it changed a little bit. It's now also a more fluent syntax. So in this case for our Windows app, we can say set image directory, and we have to map that to the assets. And then we are going to return a new window with a new main page. And here we have that XAML page. It should look pretty familiar, if you're already working with Xamarin.Forms. And also because this uses the Xamarin.Forms compat layer, so this is basically just pure Xamarin.Forms. We can see a hello world, welcome to .NET MAUI profile, current count, click me, and we can see that .NET bot PNG. So let's just run the WinUI 3 one actually. And there's one thing that's going on for me whenever I set it to this WinUI 3 application and I want to run this. I run into some kind of COM exception that is really old school. If you've been around long enough to know what COM is, then well, anyway, that will come up in a minute, but I did a little digging on the internet and I found out what the solution was. So actually you don't want to start this project for some reason. So let me stop this one, and you want to go to this WinUI 3 package one. And if I right click, maybe you can set it as your starter project, I don't know, but what works is right click, debug, start new instance. That works for me. Then it will come up with the WinUI 3 app. So that's a little workaround. Like I said, the WinUI 3 project will go up in the single project, single cross-platform project. So this is just, the tooling catching up with all the latest developments. And here we go. Here's our Hello World app. And here's the .NET bot. I need to do a little refresh for it to show up. So there are still some bugs here left and right. And we can see those labels that I just mentioned, hello world, whatever. Click me, the current count goes up. So this is a very simple sample app that is basically now your new file, new .NET MAUI app, basically. Let me actually hop over to a blog post by David. Here it is, announcing .NET MAUI Preview 3. And this is actually, I'm scrolling over this, but this is like a really good looking weather app, right? And if you look closely, you can see it running on Windows. This is Android. This is on Mac, and this is on iOS right here. So this is looking pretty, and this is the exact same code base. We'll see that in a little bit. But this is Weather 21. I'll post a link to the repository down below. And this is, the first real version that they're promoting as like the public preview, basically. So you can start using this to prototype some of your apps, or maybe see if your app can actually convert to the .NET MAUI with the Xamarin.Forms compat layer. So you can start looking into this and actually, do some tire kicking, let the team know what you think. But this is actually, this project, I think he mentioned it somewhere, is we began with Xamarin.Forms. So this is a Xamarin.Forms app, and then they've transitioned this into .NET MAUI. So this is actually a existing Xamarin.Forms app that they've transported to .NET MAUI. That is really cool. The process was painless and quick. So, good promises right here. And Whenever we scroll down, I'll show you this in a little bit, what this is all about, the setup app actions. So you can see it here. We can get this little toasts and the actions right here. And actually here, the Git status report, that is kind of the interesting one. So let's go over to that. This page also linked down below, but it's at .NET MAUI/wiki/status. You can see which of the controls are actually implemented right now. Or that there's something weird. So what is the, oh, this is pending, the little clock here is underway, and the check mark is done. So you can see here which of the properties of which controls are implemented right now. So you can see there's green here, more and more green. So that is really cool. And you can start using this whenever you are using these controls in your project. So let's just hop over to that one. Actually, I need to close this one, open my recent projects, and I have it here already, the Weather 21. And here again, this is the Weather 2021, and this is like a proper app, right? It has the pages, resources, services, view models, views. So let me here, it's got a couple of pages. The resources, so here's where the star comes in, right? So this is multiple fonts, a whole lot of images, some styles. And if we look at the CSproj file right here, all that they did is say images/star, and all the images are included. Resources, fonts/star, and all the resources, all the fonts are included as well. So actually, let me start with the WinUI 3 one. The way to do this is go to your WinUI 3 package, right-click that, and just say debug and start new instance. For some reason, that does work. I'm gonna admit that I'm not the WinUI 3 expert, so I don't know what this does, but this is a way to actually get it working. Hopefully, there we go. And here we go. So this is, and it's also responsive, right? So we have these widgets here on the right. We have this little wind indicator here. We can see this weather forecast here. We can scroll down. We can scroll down here. And we have a little tab here on the left where we can click through to other views. I think we have the actual web view here. It's going to load some data from a web page, and we'll see a little weather app that's going on for the Netherlands. That's where I am. And we have a settings page. So that is really cool. Not everything works. Maybe they're going to build out this demo. I don't know. But, just for, the view, this basically works. And what is really cool is that you can actually also run this, of course, on all the other platforms. So for Android, also my debug session won't work for some reason. So I've just deployed it to this Android emulator right here. You can see the icon. I can start this, and here we will see the exact same app, but now running on Android. And you can see it's responsive, right? Because we can see this image, but now it's here. We can see this bar, but now with less, and we can scroll through this. So this is probably some kind of carousel view, right? So, and the other widgets are tucked in somewhere else. So they're tucked in down here. You can see that. So it's all nice and responsive. It all works on these different viewports. So that is really cool. And of course, our tab bar is now down here because that is how the tab bar should behave. Now, what is really cool is let's just dive into the code here for a minute and go to our startup class. I already have that here. And again, we have the use compatibility. So to do that, we have to also add the compatibility package. So if we look here under the dependencies, again, this is all the Android, iOS, Mac Catalyst all in one project. And if we look at the Android one and the packages, you can see it has the Microsoft MAUI controls compatibility. That is the package that you need to make that compatibility with your Xamarin.Forms work. Because basically what it does, it has a shim layer. So you think, or your Xamarin.Forms app thinks that it's still talking to the renderers, but actually, you're connected through to the new handler architecture. So you will automatically get benefits from .NET MAUI. You will get that performance boost, and it will be great. So that's how that works. And here in the startup class, we also have that use .NET MAUI app, of course, which is our app class that we're going to use. And here we can see some magic happening. If Windows, then we can wire up a tray service, whatever that may be, in the notification service. And for Mac Catalyst, we're doing the same. But for Mac Catalyst, that tray service, you can imagine for Windows and for Mac, you can have this kind of similar functionality because Windows and Mac are, they're comparable, but they need a different implementation. And this is how you can do that. And here again, we can configure those fonts. But if you focus on this thing here, the tray service, so if I go actually to my tray, you will see, well, you don't see it because I'm in the way. So let me just get myself out of the way here. There we go. So down here, I went down here to my tray and there's a little .NET bot. And whenever we click that, there is a notification coming up, and I have the focus assist on, so you don't see it popping up here, but you can see hello build, because this demo was build for Build, Microsoft Build, the conference. You can see this notification popping up, and whenever we should run this on Mac OS, you will see the notification come up here in the top right, where it normally shows up for Mac, right? So that is pretty cool. Now the other thing, I think that is wired up in the app. No, I think so. Let's follow the path into the app XAML CS. What's happening here? We can see again that Forms compatibility is wired up here. That platform configuration for Windows is here. And then we set a window to a new navigation page. So the navigation page is now implemented, which is cool. Allows you to navigate through the app. In Preview 4, I think that's new. So that is the big thing why it's now ready for you to look at it. And then we say new homepage. Okay, so let's have a look at that homepage, which I already have open here. And here we can see set up app actions. And that is pretty cool because set up app actions, we're going to say set async, app action, set async, current info, check current weather, and add a location. Now, the app actions is something that comes from Xamarin.Essentials. This is now integrated as well. If we scroll up here, we can see using Microsoft MAUI Essentials. So that is where Xamarin.Essentials is going to live. It's just integrated. You can use it directly in your project here. We can just say app action set async. And then whenever we look down here at our taskbar and right click, you can see check current weather. So that's our app action, and add location. That's our other app action. That works on UWP. Now, if I go back to the Android emulator right here, and I go back to my launch screen here, and I long press this icon, we can see add a location and check current weather. So the app actions, they're just implemented here on Android, on UWP, on iOS. This would work the same way as on Android. I'm not sure. Yes, on macOS, it's actually supported as well if you right click on the icon. So that is pretty cool, out of the box, don't have to install separate packages, it is just here. Now, one other cool thing that is now supported, I think only for Android and UWP or WinUI 3 at this point, is the little flame icon here. So that is the .NET hot reload. I've got another video on that, so go check that out, a more deep dive. But what is really cool, so my .NET app is still running here. You can see that wind indicator is still flipping about. It's making me a little bit nervous. So let's see if we can stop that without leaving this debug session. So I think this is, let's see, implemented here in the views, and we have, this is set up to be widgets. So here we have the wind live widget, right? So normally what we could do in XAML, we had XAML hot reload and we could only influence like the visual stuff, right? But now we can also change code while we're running, and also for Xamarin apps. Now the support is not there for iOS and all the other bits. It's coming, it's definitely coming. But for now, only UWP and Android. So in here we go, we scroll down, let's see what this code does. Update live wind, direction is get direction, which is probably some random thing. And then we do needle rotate to. Okay, so let's just set this direction to 0, so I don't get nervous whenever that thing is jumping around. And I save this, and I click this little hot reload icon here. And you will see here at the bottom of Visual Studio, code changes were applied successfully. So here you can see, it stopped going around. So that's cool, right? That's cool. And if I change it now back, so if I take this out of the comments, save this, do the thing right here and be really quick, you can see that it starts moving again, right? So that is really cool. You don't have to leave your debug session again, which is really awesome. This is a real productivity boost. So that is really cool. Now there is of course a lot of other things going on. Let me know actually what you want to see more, where I can zoom in already to make your .NET MAUI journey off to a great start. But for now, let me just go back to this little blog post here and highlight some other things. So we had the single project run. I actually want to go back up the raw assets. I mentioned that, but it becomes even cooler. So here it's in a web view scenario. So we have this MAUI asset. So you can actually add static assets to your project, right? So you can just include this index.html file, and you're going to say like, hey, this lives in my resources raw index.html. And you can again use those wildcards right here. And what you can just say then is WebView index.html. So no weird path. It will figure out for you where it lives, where it needs to be, and you can just use it with the file name. Now, if we go a little bit more up again, which kind of has to do with the index.html, is a Blazor web view. So that's going to be something new. A Blazor web view is making it very easy for you to have this kind of hybrid .NET MAUI app. So you can basically just take your Blazor, ASP.NET Blazor web app, put that in your .NET MAUI app, and with the Blazor web view, you can say, hey, this is my host page, this is my services right here, this is my root component, and then you've wired up your app inside of a native app, which is different from the Blazor mobile bindings. The Blazor mobile bindings basically take the Blazor programming model, so the kind of scripting way of mixing code and markup, and that will map to actual native components, basically like how Xamarin.Forms and .NET MAUI does it. But the Blazor web view lets you take your Blazor app, put it into a native app, and now you have a kind of hybrid app. So that is really cool too. We're going to see where this is going, of course. And the other really cool things, if we scroll back down, the hot reload, I've talked about that. Ecosystem readiness, so of course the teams are working with all the control vendors. So Telerik is mentioned here. They are going to have their controls ready too. I think they have a preview out right now as well. And Prism, they've launched a early version. So, you can see that the plugins and the other frameworks are also at a stage where they can support this, which indicates that .NET MAUI Preview 4 is, ready for you to spin the wheels a little bit. Get started today. I've already talked about that, and I think feedback welcome, very important. So interact with the team on github.net/MAUI. The product roadmap is linked here as well. All the links down in the video description. I hope this will give you a good overview and a good start on how to get started now with a .NET MAUI app. I plan to make a video on transitioning a Xamarin.Forms app, which will be a simple one, just a file new Xamarin.Forms app, to a .NET MAUI app, and see how easy that transition actually is, what we need to do for that. If that's something that you want to see, then please help me determine the priority by letting me know in the comments that it's something that you want to see. Now, there's a lot of new pieces in .NET MAUI, and with this preview, .NET MAUI is, more complete than ever. There's still a lot of work to do, and the team is working hard to get it done by November, but you can see it's already shaping up pretty nicely. So there will be much more content on .NET MAUI. Please let me know in the comments what you want me to focus on, and I can look into creating videos on that, because, just like you, I'm learning about this stuff as well, and I'm putting videos out there so that we can all learn together, which is cool, right? Please like this video if you've actually liked it. If you didn't subscribe to my channel yet, please subscribe right now, or at least consider doing it. Check out some other videos, see if I'm actually worth it. I hope so, and I'm looking forward to that subscribe. And other than that, I'll be seeing you for my next video. Keep coding.